How's it going today? Just a lot of information here to take in and set up and make sure everything works out just right here. So we're just going to continue on with our discussion. We're hoping to turn this into a weekly sharing circle eventually with, we have the stream key and the Zoom key and Zoom sign in and stuff like that. So our hope is that because we understand the challenges and difficulties that people are going through this pandemic and stuff, the social isolation, especially Indigenous people, and all the problems that come with it, especially the strains that it takes on relationships. So for now, we're just going to continue taking our information from this book as Bill sees it. So this one's entitled Alike When the Chips Are Down. And today's reading says, in the beginning, it was 4 whole years before AA brought permanent sobriety to even one alcoholic woman. So 4 whole years, right? Like the high bottoms, the woman said they were different. AA couldn't be for them, but as the communication was perfected, mostly by the women themselves, the picture changed. This process of identification and transmission had gone on and on. The skid rower said he was different, even more loudly. The socialite or Park Avenue stumblebum said the same. So did the artists and the professional people, the rich, the poor, the religious, the agnostic. And then this is strictly from the reading. So it says the Indians and the Eskimos, the veterans and the prisoners. But nowadays, all of these and legions more soberly talk about how very much alike all of us alcoholics are when we admit that the chips are finally down. What this reading reminds me of is a quote that our hurts and grievances happen privately, but healing needs to happen publicly, right? It's only through public interaction that we find who we truly are, is my thought. So if you're new in recovery, I would encourage people to seek out various groups and various group leaders who know and understand group dynamics. A good group facilitator will strive to regulate the performance of the group as a whole, keeping it on course of its actions. They would strive to achieve a feeling of we-ness, identity, groupness, like the whole group as a whole, cohesiveness, that come when individuals feel like they belong to something bigger than themselves. When I think about identity, it reminds me of this model that developed by James Marshall on identities. You have the opportunity, as suggested in the reading, to see development in yourself, where you see yourself as similar to each other. You can see that you have similar tastes like food, clothes, and reading material. And we've seen those happen in the 12-step meetings. And these similarities can lead to strong friendships being built within the group. James Marshall developed a great model for identity based upon Erik Erikson's 8 stages psychosocial development. His model starts with crisis and commitment. So on top it says exploration, but that's a crisis. On the side, it says commitment. His model starts with crisis and commitment, and when faced with a crisis, like, for example, me being an alcoholic or me being Indigenous, I could go one way or the other. Like I could say, yes, I'm an alcoholic, or no, I'm not an alcoholic. Or I could say, yes, I'm Indigenous, or no, I'm not Indigenous. And many people, I heard of one Indigenous lady, she would tie her hair back so tight in a bun that it made her eyes like, well, she looked Asian rather than Indigenous, and that was her goal. So I could say yes I am, or yes I am not. I can say yes I made a commitment to recovery. So what does that mean now? Now I'm an recovering alcoholic. If my commitment to recovery is not high, then this identity, then I'll belong to what's called a identity foreclosure. See it up top there. This is where I can blindly accept the values and beliefs others have about myself without question or exploration of alternatives about myself. So it's I've made a choice without thinking. See, because there is no choice. So that's when our crisis is low, but our commitment is high. Alternative, if our commitment is low, but the crisis is high. Oh, our commitment is low in there. Sorry, but when our crisis is low. But if our commitment is low, we're not committed to anything, but we're always in high crisis. I'll be in constant crisis. I don't know if you've known any individual who they seem like they're in constant crisis without making a commitment to anything. And I think these are individuals who are in and out of the program quite a bit. So this will lead me to numerous wild goose chases to find out, okay, who am I? I've moved many times in my life. I've made many career choices, never stuck to any one job long enough to get well known within that field. So basically, I've not made any concrete choices of who I want to be or what beliefs I want to live by. When we put these two together, though, high crisis and high commitment, we will achieve an identity. So this happens when we explore numerous identities. Right here. Numerous identities and commitment to a consistent belief system, and now I know how to plan and live my life. This may take guidance, so I would encourage you to seek out a counselor to begin with, or a sponsor, or someone who you trust, somebody who's been there, somebody who's gone this way for a long time. They walk the walk, they talk the talk, etc. Then your ideas will become well developed, well thought out, based upon experiences, strength, and hope. So once we do that, we're able to live more freely in the here and now, right now. Like, what do you hear? You hear my voice. What do you see? You see the picture. Live the moment, right? And how calming and peaceful it is. See, in my voice, I know it's boring and monotone, but that's good sometimes for meditation. Like, I'm almost tempted to record a meditation, but you could feel it. Like, so use the senses. What if you're sitting down? Can you feel the weight? Can you feel the chair pushing you up? If you're standing, can you feel the earth? Can you feel the rotation of the world? What do you smell? It's kind of like after lunchtime. Do you smell lunch? Like, what do you see? Like, you could see the computer screen. What's around the computer screen? So we live more in the here and now if we could achieve an identity. Then we're able to deal with our feelings and interactions with people on a daily basis. We can acknowledge conflicts, withdrawals, support dominance, and change as it occurs in real time, rather than the past or present in the future. We can deal with and handle the extremes of our feelings as they arise from really high to really low. We can address our personal issues about our life and death even. We can also set specific goals and appropriate ways of interacting with other individuals if we achieve this identity, if we have enough experiences, if we make enough commitments, if we face enough crises. We can achieve a sense of hope, finally. We will see that what we desire is possible. and events will eventually turn out for the best. Hope is a feeling that what one believes will occur. Like I know somebody said, well, hope doesn't exist. It's only a place between here and Kamloops. And probably to a large degree that's true, because so sometimes we hope, right? We say we want a vehicle. I just listened to this one guy on YouTube say, well, and then we put it up to the creator. Oh, creator, please gift me with a vehicle. What he said though is that if we're hoping for a vehicle, he said, like, sometimes, we put that into God's care, creator's care, but yet it's ourselves who need to get off the couch, go to work, budget, save, and then eventually buy it ourselves. And that made a lot of sense to me. So I think our hopes need to be bigger. And create what's called breakthrough goals, wherever you are right now. Okay, if you're in addictions, how do you break through that? How do you break out of that habit, knowledge, skills, and desire? Do you really want to give up addictions? So once we do this, if we find hope, this will give us recovery energy. Then we'll be able to move into cooperation. So cooperation is when group members work together for the common good. We can relax, begin to work better together, can try to obtain a position with less enthusiasm, like, you know what I mean, like a position within the group. Like maybe at the beginning, we're trying to vie or trying to make our way within the group and say, I'm top dog in a sense in this group, but once we move past all that, we get into cooperation, we start working together, then those positions of authority, we will strive for them with less enthusiasm. We'll gain a sense that achieving something together as a whole is way important than ourselves, and we realize that we can achieve more together for the benefit of all group members and not just ourselves. This will lead to higher group cohesion. We will achieve a sense of we-ness, and I think that's what the reading was talking about. We'll be able to see, that we're not really so different after all, but the way to get there is to interact on a consistent and frequent basis with the people, like groups and group facilitators, and learn from them. So this will allow us to run the group as a unit. We'll be able to function as a unit. Morale, trust, and solidarity increase. We learn that it's safe for self-disclosure. That's what I've been in various groups, in both facilitating and participating in. And I'm always about self-disclosure. I talk about myself quite a bit to create safety within the group. And pave that way for others to be able to talk openly about what they're going through as well. So the chief concern at this stage is intimacy and closeness. That's what you want to achieve within a group, and in this way you learn a lot about yourself. When we achieve this, we become more productive, become more open to be influenced by other group members. We're not so closed. We'll be open to their feedback. We experience more group security, are able to express safely or hostility as it arises. They're more closely to what the group wants. Be able to see what the group wants, and we'll be able to meet them wherever they are. We attempt to influence other group members also. We want to be part of the group for longer periods of time. So this is what happens when they talked about that seeing that each individual is the same, and that when the chips are down, that they'll see that we're all the same. We're all in this boat together, in a recovery boat, and so yeah, that's my hope is that you do face a crisis that in your life, in order to achieve an identity, to find out really what you are. I know this is a non-Indigenous approach, but there's other Indigenous, say, leaders, elders, old people within our community that will be able to guide us through this, and will be able to find out who we really are. We'll face a crisis over and over and over again, and we'll make a commitment through all of that. And the higher our commitment, the higher the crisis that we face, the more that we'll be able to form our group identity. And so, I just like to, this is a short one, and this is probably the way that it's going to be for the next little while. I know I did a longer one, about 45 minutes on change. That was a previous sharing circle. But so the way that we could work this is, if anyone wants to call, they could call in, and we'll be able to have a phone conversation, just like I'm interacting with the camera right now. I have a great system that has sound effects and all that, but this, we have 4 microphones, so eventually, if you wanted to get a small podcast sharing circle of 4 committed individuals who want to talk about these more and more, we could do that as well. If you want one-to-one counseling, confidential counseling, we could provide that. So if you just click on the link, go to the website, iwtscanada.org, and you'll see the Book Now button, and just click on that. It'll bring you to another page. You just click on, probably if it's your first time there, the free initial session, and book a time. I'll get a notification as long as it's within our hours. Even if it's outside of the hours, you could still book it, and it's up to us whether or not we approve it or suggest or recommend a different time. And what we try to do is, so let's say it's Tuesday at 10 a.m. That's the time that you're available. That'll be your hour, right? If it's not already taken. So it makes it easier for next, if you're busy or we're busy or whatever. So I just like to close in a prayer here. I just pray that anyone who stumbles upon this live stream, that they're able to get a little bit out of it. It'll help them with their decision, that they're able to, when the chips are down, realize that we're not all really so different, that we are more similar. And if we haven't heard our story within the rooms yet, if we haven't had enough experiences, strength, and hope, that we keep going to the meetings. We keep our commitment to recovery. We keep facing the crises, and the more crises that we face within our recovery, the higher up the ladder we'll be able to climb. And we pray that each individual, no matter what step or stage that they're at in their lives, that they're able to, if they think about relapse, that they shy away from that and get through them that day or that moment, and reach out to those individuals who know about recovery, who've experienced it, who've put the pressure on themselves, and yet they built up the resiliency. They've learned and they've gained from what the Creator has in store for them. They've faced their demons, all of their demons in the past, and they've overcome those, and now which further strengthened their commitment to whatever has happened. So we want to create identities. We want to provide individuals with hope, and we want to provide them with living in the here and now, in this moment, rather than in the past. And we want to create cohesion within our communities, one individual at a time until we could find a place where we'd be able to expand our group sessions into, and when the pandemic restrictions are lifted, we're able to gather, then we'll be able to gather individuals and have them achieve exactly what we've set out and identified here. And they'll be able to work together for the benefit of other people as a whole, as our whole nation, all across Canada. For the Indigenous peoples of Canada, they all need leadership. They all want they all want sovereignty. So we want to start with where they're at and guide them to growing and achieving an identity, a recovery identity that they could be able to use in the future. And when they think of relapse, that they'll commit back to the actions that they've taken and maintain their sobriety under all circumstances. If they need assistance, please give them the courage or reach out to us, and we could at least point them in a direction. All our relations.